Well, we're back in the studio, and we couldn't be here without the benefactor that has been so extraordinary for us, and that's Dave Tabb.
My best mate, DT.
Yeah. We can't express our thanks enough.
No,
and,
thank you, Dave. Honestly, man.
Your help and your cooperation and
generosity.
And coming up and watching the episodes is fantastic. And truly, we're blessed to have you on board.
Yeah, we really are. And we hope we entertain you. Well, I'm very excited. This is going to be great. I haven't really seen Tim in practically 30 years.
Yeah, you worked with him.
And it was my first proper big job in America, doing Jungle to Jungle, and with him and Marty Short and Lolita Davidovich.
And your blonde hair.
And my blonde hair. I swear to God, every shop I went into, they thought I was going to nick something.
Probably, yeah.
I had about 2.5, 3 months in New York, staying in a really lovely hotel room at the Park Avenue Hotel.
Well, that doesn't hurt.
No, it didn't. And Tim was in the penthouse, and he became a chum, actually. We hung out a lot, and this was prior to his now 30-year sober days. And that guy could party. And he had a lot of per diem, which I still remind him about. It was really fun, and he's just an extraordinarily, bon vivant, welcoming, funny guy, and quite sort of modest with it in many ways. He comes from a very ordinary Midwest background, sort of middle class,
Episcopalian.
Yeah,
and credit to you, man, for getting him here.
Oh, bless you, mate. It took a little,
a Dominic nudge.
Finagling. As luck would have it, because I went to, there was a grand opening of the Hollywood Y back when we were doing the other show. And I went along to that knowing that Tim was going to be there. And I thought his current wife, Janie, would be there too, who was very friendly with. And she wasn't, and it was his ex-wife was there, Laura, who's a very sweet lady, but it just wasn't the right time. I went up to the dais, as it were, where he'd done his commentary speech, and I just got his attention quickly before they were whisking him off to do endless signing and being famous stuff. And he was very gracious, and he was like, Dominic, how great, because he knew. He used to go to the Y, and I joined the Y and he literally would work out there, and Janie was his trainer, and but it just wasn't the right time, and I was kind of a little crestfallen that had gone by the wayside and maybe slipped through the crack, and then just before Christmas, I got that little movie, and lo and behold, we went to the table read, Sarah and I, and we pulled up outside the studio there, and there was this damn-ass fancy Audi car there, electric. And there was someone sitting in the front seat, but the windows were all blacked out. But you could tell that they were reading what probably was a script on a little iPad or a computer. And I thought it was going to be one of the producers. And I'm like, God, these people are making good money on these little films. I gotta
redo this.
So I walk into the table read, and the director's there, Ryan. And I said, hey, man, I could see... I said, is that one of the producers sitting out there in the car park? He goes, no, it's one of the actresses. I was like, what's she doing? Anyway, 2 minutes later, in walks Janie Haddock. And Ryan goes, this is Janie, she's going to be playing your wife. And I looked at her and she went, Dominic, you know me.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, it's you, Janie. And that was that. So we had a really fun shoot, and that's when I, sort of got in her ear.
Right.
And God bless it, all worked out. And anyway, I'm really looking forward to it.
You're all going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
The show has begun. Set your phasers to fun. You're guaranteed for a trip. Slip into the decon with Connor and Dom. It's the Decon Chamber.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Trekkies and Trekkers, welcome back to another episode of the Decon Chamber. I'm your co-host, Dominic Keating, joined as always by my fellow co-host, my bestie
Here
in
town.
America, Mr. Connor Trinneer is in the house.
Hey-yo.
Without further ado, the main event. Today in the Decon Chamber, we have a very, very special guest. He's an actor, a comedian, a pop culture icon, I would say. He's a man of many talents, turbocharging tool time on Home Improvement, bridging cultural divides in Jungle to Jungle. Lots more of that later. And squeezing down chimneys in the Santa Claus films for over 30 years. He's brought tenacious Buzz Lightyear to life, who will soon be taking audiences to infinity and beyond once more in Toy Story 5. If we know our audience, chances are you've loved him as Commander Peter Quincy Taggart of the NSEA Protector in Galaxy Quest, a film we wholeheartedly embrace as an honorary part of the Star Trek universe. Well, he's now back on Earth, revving engines and mending family ties on the ABC sitcom Shifting Gears. So please put your pedal to the metal and join us as we beam up, digitize, the one and only Mr. Tim Allen.
Wow. Now, why did it digitize? You can't use beam up anymore?
Well, apparently in Galaxy Quest, they didn't want to use beam up because that was, too Star Trek, and they might have got sued. So you were
Really?
Yes, you were digitized. Yeah.
Because I said it every time I bring that up, because I got to be friends with Shatner because of that, because he thought it didn't make fun of Star Trek. It really it was an homage to that whole genre.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was, because he said he loved how you did. I did, my sitting in the seat at the Enterprise. I said, actually, it was an Egyptian reference to Moses. That's what I was doing. Was Yul Brynner.
That's right. I've heard you say that.
Yeah, because I was
from the Ten
posturing,
Commandments.
Moses.
Yes.
What do you bring me dressed? And the way he even sat in that chair,
Yeah.
dressed in the garb of a Hebrew slave, and he is the Word of God. And that was the whole thing with that whole thing was me.
Oh, just seeped out of you as
Yeah,
soon as I saw it.
I wanted to be.
And Shatner was like, what?
What? Well,
Well, actually, you looked a bit like Bill.
and we did. The shirt came off.
You were in
his shirt
full
came
shape.
Off. Okay.
Jane, who became your wife, who was
Right.
training you then back in those days.
That was a terribly uncomfortable because I'm a freak for sci-fi, and that whole movie. All I remember is that because Dean Paraso was the director, but he was a documentary director that got filled in because the original director moved on.
Harold Ramis moved on, didn't he?
Right. Didn't
Was
like.
there any story behind why
He didn't. He would.
He met with you, didn't he?
They met. We met all together. I thought to frame what type of character they wanted, and he stopped eating in the middle of it. He was a very pleasant guy. He just said, "I think we got a misunderstanding here." And then the head of the studio was there with us, and he said, "I want an action figure that can be funny."
Was it Katzenberg was there?
Yeah. He said, He said, Ramis said, I really want an action guy that can be funny, not a funny guy that can do action. And everybody got real quiet. I went, I'd made that fail. Boy, these eggs, there's something wrong. These eggs, everything got real quiet.
Oh, the commissary at
And
Paramount.
then they said, could you leave us alone for a minute, Tim? And so I left, came back from the bathroom, and he was gone. And they said, we're going to move on to another director. I went, well, that's uncomfortable. Yeah. So that I got him fired, and I've never felt good about that because I understood what he was talking about. It was more of a Spaceballs feel
yes.
to the script. Lucky the way it turned out, because then
Way
Paraso
better.
just did it as a documentary
Yeah.
film. You guys do what
Yeah.
you do, play the actors playing heroes.
Yeah.
And he let it be that way, and it was brilliant because of him. But to me, a sci-fi freak, I lost my funny line. I did Kirk always was rolling behind rocks. He always did these real barrel rolls to get the aliens.
Right.
And all the other crew members they'd cut to them. They're standing there for some reason. He's
He's doing the
yeah,
roll.
he's doing these rolls. So I did. I got trained by a stunt guy to roll. And the funny line is, I lost my gun in that roll that I was supposed to have later in the scene. And when we pulled it out, we had missed it. It was in another scene. I go, where's my gun? It's in the show. We ended up finding the gun, which I have in my collection. And a couple times my shirt was off.
Well, you were right back on the ship shirt.
It was on the shirt, but how did the shirt get back on the ship? Because I would do this constantly. Well, I'm not going to do the rest of the movie with no shirt.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Dean goes, well, just put it on the transporter tape.
It came up with the transporter, yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't.
But it
came off. Grignac pulled it off me and it fell on the ground. So how did Grignac? Oh, you forgot your shirt. Did he throw it? How did the shirt get back in there? The best one in there, my best joke ever was Shaloub. We're getting in the transporter, go down to the planet, and then Dean goes, "We're just going to rush in. We'll close the door, then we'll come back around, and then we'll go on to Utah where we shot it. The next scene will be a week later when we get back on the location." I said, "Well, we can't just walk out of the spaceship." He goes, "Yeah, because you got to get out to see." I know that, but someone has to test. There has to be a trial. You can't just open the door of a spaceship. And Dean's going, "I don't know what you're talking about. You don't just get out of spaceships. Did we do a tricorder reading or something?
No oxygen. Who knows?
How do we know there's oxygen?" He goes, "I don't care. We just got to get down. You guys, I know, but I have to say something to the crew." And he's going, "Tim, we don't have time for this. I don't have a device." And Shaloub goes, "I've figured it out. I got it." And so when we landed in that same scene, we turned around. He just goes,
Yeah.
"It's good."
Yeah.
He's so funny in it.
Oh, God,
It's an underwritten part, but he does it all.
Well, they all did.
Charlie
And
Chaplin.
Sam Rockwell's part was minor, and then he was saying the stuff that actually the character said. I don't have a last name.
Yeah.
You know I'm going to die in this thing.
Exactly.
It's always the guy with no, and we made it up in that ship. We said, "Fleegman, that's your name, Fleegman, your Guy Fleegman."
Guy Fligman. I don't know if you remember, but you took me to the producers for that because we'd just done Jungle to Jungle.
Right.
And I went back a couple of times, and I thought I was pretty close. But then I've since seen Sam interviewed, and apparently he turned it down 1,000,000 times. So apparently I was nowhere close.
Wow.
And the rest
We'll
is
keep
history.
Dom on the hook. He's waiting for.
But thank you for bringing me anyway.
Wow. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we just done Jungle to Jungle together. I heard Brian Riley passed away, who was the producer.
Yeah.
That was sad when
Really sad.
Jane told me that.
That was I think about him all the time. I think about it's a philosophy background, and my family's pretty religious, and I've been thinking about people that pass and why do they come up. And Riley was
He was a lovely chap.
he was a great man, and he got really, really sick. And this is typical with comics and funny guys. He lost a lot of weight, moved his family with what was left of his life to the Santa Monica.
Bara and his daughter Sam, right?
Yeah, and they lived on the beach, and he ended up walking the beach a lot, lost some weight, and for some reason, after the chemo, he grew more hair. So he had more hair than when he lost.
He had a good head. He had a good
So
head.
he had a good
anyway.
head of hair, a tan, and kind of trim.
He looked kind of good.
So you go see him to say his goodbyes. He's had like 3 weeks to live, and we walk in. He's sitting there, and he goes, "Don't even say it. Please don't say it." Because
I look great.
bunch of comics walk in. "Damn, you're looking good." He goes, "So cancer looks good on me."
Yeah.
And it was that's how he went. He went courageously.
Bless
and
his heart,
Oh
man.
man, I think about him all the time.
When Jane told me that, how's Bara doing?
Good.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was his wife. She was a good screenwriter, Bara Grant.
great screenwriter and a good philosophical muse for me. She had some great.
Give her my love when you next
Will do,
talk.
will do.
Yeah. I still have a birthday present she gave me. It was an Oscar.
Still have it?
Yeah, it's in there in my office. Yeah, it was a birthday present Oscar. You know.
She probably stole it from somebody.
Yeah, she probably did.
Lest we forget. Dominic
So
Keating.
when you were at Lest We Forget, when you met with Harold, were you already cast? It was your
It was cast
part?
from the studio's point of view.
Right, because I
I
know
don't
they
know-
were looking at Robin Williams, Mel Gibson,
Well, it was a Bruce Willis type of thing.
and Bruce.
They
yeah.
wanted a much more serious action hero. The original script was kind of really, really silly. If you read it,
Mr. Starshine
yeah, if you read it,
right,
it was
yeah.
really silly.
by Howard Dean. It
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
and then Bob
Oh God, Gordon.
Gordon got hold of it. Yeah, and
It's
turned
been
it
a
in.
really weird, because jumping forward and why I don't know who to blame or what.
You pursued it though, didn't you? You knew that this would give you something.
The reboot was ready to go because the Thermians, once they leave, in that weird world of light speed, whatever the hell that means, they could come back and it would be 20 years later. And the idea was, these are some of the pitches that I had, is they left and there was no planet. The planet had been destroyed
Right.
by Saris and his.
So they're just wandering around.
So they
now.
wandered and came back.
Being pursued.
And the one they came back and the Dias was still there, except it's new people. And all of us, Sigourney and all of us, are at a card table signing autographs to the side. The old stars, as it happens in Star Trek. And then the new guys they're approaching them. We see the same. They're approaching the new guy that kind of looks like my character, and they're like, and they go to space with them, come back fried, and they need help. So they come back to us and say, this is for real. And then they're just babies. And so we have to go up to the spaceship and show them how to use it. But it's a new spaceship because we're not used to it. It's, the Thermians have built another spaceship from their generation. So we have to learn how to use it, teach them.
Oh, so it's not, they're not from the historical documents, as it were.
No, but it is. But they've tweaked it
So
because
you
the
have
new
no
show,
idea,
it's like the new Enterprise, whatever it is different than the one that Kirk was on. So now they have a new ship. So when we get on, we go, I don't even know what this switch does. I mean, they haven't watched the new show. And then Saris, our joke, and I'm not sure this is ever going to be in it, I go to kick Saris in the balls when I'm fighting him. And Saris goes, looking for these. And I go, and there's the balls that are in our area, and they're not balls. I said, you look just as ugly as you did. I'm not Saris. I'm Saris's sister. It looks just like, but there's
Which
a
is
little,
actually in the script.
Yeah, there's a little bow in the one. But the only difference is that it looks like, and it was really.
I'm Sarissa.
Yeah.
He was
played-
great,
who
wasn't he?
played
Robin Fax.
He passed away.
Robin, he did, didn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah. And it was so many things. Spielberg was around because he was executive on that stuff. So I was supposed to fight him in one scene. And I'm even looking at special effects guys. Goes, how would this work out? How would you?
Right.
He's the size of an elephant.
Yeah, and
he was.
the
he was.
fins come up.
But he was huge because he had stacked feet on, and he was a gigantic thing. And what am I supposed to do with these? All armored. And that was where the joke was. That I, like for his nuts, and he goes, "You're looking for these." And there's no way I could fight that guy. There's no possibility.
There's a lovely story about Spielberg being on set with that big scene you had with Enrico
Right.
Mathazar. And you want to?
He did. I
When he's being tortured, and
I got real emotional because he was a friend of mine, and Spielberg goes, "Damn." It's one of those things you don't. Comedians, other than Sandler, I mean, Adam does this really well, where he can transition. It's fun to watch how good Sandler can be at that, and Carey can do that too. He can turn the comedy into things.
He can.
And I think
He's a hell of an actor, Jim Carrey.
Yes, that's what he is. And Steve Martin too. Steve Martin.
Yeah.
I saw Roxanne.
Roxanne. Yeah.
Everything about Steve Martin that I adore was in that movie, but he wasn't funny. He had funny parts in, but when he was serious, that comedy part of him was like the two faces on the SAG thing.
Yeah.
The mental stuff came through, and that was a weird story. I did a movie, Shaggy Dog, and Robert Downey and I had been at a rehab, and he was right at the end. No one's giving him work, and he was on Shaggy Dog. It was amazing to watch that guy work. I've always been
He's a clever fellow.
He looks at comedy, in my view, just like drama.
Right.
It's just another form of acting. I mean, he was doing the funny stuff, and that's my thing. And I'm even telling the director being funny, go, we got to cut all that.
There can only be one of these guys in the room.
That guy was so damn funny. Downey
So
was,
Bill Shatner.
he was so funny in that. I'm back there going, damn. He just switched it from being serious, and comedy's just another version of acting.
Right.
I don't know how Robert thinks of it, stuff like that, but he's brilliant in that, and brilliant in the stuff that he does, and that's what I love about learning how to be an actor. It's very difficult. I often do jokes. The most humorous guy on the planet to me is Marty Short. I mean, I'm good. Robin was good. I mean, ad-libbers. If you go to a party and people won't shut up, like my wife goes, "You've got to shut up." Robin, you couldn't get a word in edgewise.
Williams. No.
I mean, I'm good, and I was good with him, and I could get him sometimes.
Right.
But Marty, I got to walk away because I'm having some intestinal problem because I can't stop laughing. This guy is funny, and Marty we've done a couple movies together where any kind of serious moment, it's like I don't know. I got to do. I said, Marty, you don't got to make a noise every time you get out of a chair
or bang your head on the desk.
Marty always just he's always you're just answering the phone, Marty. It was jungle.
Yes.
He'd get out of a chair. What is
These
that?
two on set in Jungle to Jungle, I mean, literally up to camera, it was just mayhem.
Man.
And I was in the deep end with a couple of heavyweights,
Right.
and I had to go away into the corner a couple of times.
Well,
just run through the lines.
We
on my own,
did Santa Claus. He played what is it? I can't remember what he now. Mr. Freeze or something. Or,
Right. Yeah.
What is it? What did he play? Jack Frost.
Jack Frost.
And we did so many bits that eventually, and we had a huge set. It was the whole North Pole, so the camera was way across. But you eventually saw crew going like this. It was funny an hour ago.
Right.
We just won't stop.
Right.
And we did a whole.
It's a disease.
Well, it's a disease because it's infectious to
It
watch.
is.
And then Marty did a thing for the morning show
Yes.
with Steve Carell
Right.
outside playing evil men. I've never seen anything like that. Where Marty, when he went, he got, and it is possible that the funnier you get, I think, the more serious you can become. And it's very hard, actually. The new show, Shifting Gears, the original, we call it the North Star of the first episode by the Scullys, husband and wife team. They wrote this thing where I have to get emotional because my wife is passed in the show within a year, and my daughter comes back from a bad divorce, and I don't like her that much, and I've given her a place
2
to stay.
kids
And she notices that my wife has a blender that's not cleaned. And she opens the counter. You haven't cleaned this, have you? And I said, no, that was your mom made biscuits that morning that she left and never came back. And I had to do this scene where you get, and I've done 3 sitcoms, and whoever's still alive is still in my crew because I really, really love the ties I have to the Teamsters and everybody that works on this stuff. And when the camera guys are quiet, and you could hear jibs moving when I got into this thing, and then as Kat Dennings and I both had this real emotional scene about what it's like to lose somebody in a sitcom, to go there. And she and I said, I don't think I want to be an actor. I don't know how people do this.
Right.
Where you have to go, okay, cut. Now we'll get to the other camera angle. Then you got to do it again.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance.
I don't know how people do this. Really a lot of respect for people that can do that, go there. Comedy to me is very easy, Comedies, but
I was going to start the whole interview off in the immortal words of the dearly departed Ray Liotta. You're a funny guy. You are.
coming from him.
But you are. You've got the funny bone. And, how old were you when you figured I'm a funny guy? Because, I mean, Dad died when you were 11.
11.
My dad died when I was 13. I mean, that
He was funny.
That shooks you up a bit, doesn't it?
It screwed me up.
Yeah.
I just had this conversation with my sister and brother. I've got 9 siblings. And
You have, haven't you?
We all got
6 from the first marriage with Mum and Dad.
and then 3 from.
And then she married her childhood sweetheart from
yeah.
high school, and they
And
had
we
3
had
kids. He had 3 kids.
He had 3 kids, and I
Yeah.
said, but those of us that have had trauma over dealing with death, I don't know if, as I always said, I don't think you don't get over it, you get by it.
Yeah.
And I have old philosophical background, had to read so many books. And one thing about Scientology that I always thought was kind of interesting, they have thing in Dianetics, the book, L. Ron Hubbard's book.
Did you read it?
Yeah.
I've never
We had to
read
do
it.
in philosophy.
No.
Read, just at it, because I never did it. And I took a challenge to old priest friend of mine. My wife's Catholic, so we were married in a Catholic church, and he's become a good friend of mine. And he gave me the Jerusalem Bible. And I'd say, I was raised Episcopalian or Anglican. I've never read the Bible. I'm reading this thing. I had no idea what I was getting into, how hard it is to read the Old Testament and how different it is. It's not what I thought it was. And it's all about paying attention. I swear my joke is constantly the Israelis or the Jews or the Hebrews, Hebrew I think is a word, means migrant actually. Pay attention. Try to understand. Take care of the... Are you listening to me? All right, now,
Where have you gone?
please look at me. Look at me. Take care of widows, poor people, and holy... All right.
Lightning bolt.
Lightning bolt. They're all burned to death. All right.
Now.
No. All right. Got it? Yeah, you can drink wine and bunnies. Not a problem. Don't... And it's constantly, my favorite was Moses. I do this whole thing with Aaron, goes up to the Mount Sinai. He goes, I'll be right back. I got a notion. I got to get this whole thing. don't party or anything. I mean, take everybody, make sure they fit, but don't build any golden rams or anything. He was making a joke. He comes back down. He's going,
What have they got?
Aaron, come here. What did I say about What did I just say? And he goes, it's not a ram, it's a lamb. It's a golden lamb. I don't care what it is. 2 minutes ago, I asked you to do this. And so humans don't focus any length of time. And people that do focus are annoying. And it turns out I'm annoying to my family and even my crew. When I got a job to do, I got to focus on finishing it. We're talking to you. And you got to finish the job.
I've heard you tell it, let's get it in before the stroke.
Yeah.
Before I have a stroke.
Yeah, you got to move quickly. Right when you go, I've got the mortgage paid, my kid's in college, things couldn't be.
Let's go back to a bit of Galaxy Quest just before, because
25 years.
25 years, it's just gone past 25 years. I know you loved working with Alan Rickman, God dearly departed. I knew him quite well back in London.
Geez.
He saw me in a couple of plays when I first started out. And I remember you do that scene with Mathazar, and apparently you went back to your trailer rather sort of befuddled and combobulated with emotion, and apparently Alan just went, I believe he's experienced acting.
Yeah. Well, he didn't. Darryl Williams, who's in Shifting Gears, who now is in a wheelchair.
Yes, you're big mates with him, aren't you?
After a motorcycle, he and I would do bits, and Alan was in only his way, kind, British way. He didn't He didn't say out loud that you're a loser, because anybody else, like Ray Liotta, did movies with him, and he would tell you, "This is not acting. I don't feel anything."
Really?
I do lines with Ray, and he go, am I supposed to react to that?
I got nothing.
I go, Ray, that's embarrassing. Then say it like you mean it. Say it so I hear you, so I react to it. And I go, Ray.
Hell, I hired you.
But he taught me a lot about sell it, be that. And Alan, he goes, is that all you do is jokes? You just do jokes. Because I would do penis jokes or balls or sacks or whatever I was doing in those. And it wasn't with anything with Alan, but that's eventually Alan saw me do a few things. He goes, and I don't do his accent well. And he says, I understand now that's your process.
Yes.
Because I'd
keeping you light.
I'd see Sigourney and all of them do this every now and then before we do a big scene. Yellow school, but whatever the actors do these.
Right.
Daryl and I warm up. Daryl and I go, what are they doing? Like, and Sammy Rockwell is a brilliant actor, and
he's quite method, isn't he?
Oh, quite method. And I make a lot of this stuff up. But Daryl and I were just doing. We did two very effeminate soldiers that were the toughest soldiers in the brigade. Up to the top of the hill, everybody, now. I'm so cold. So when they were fighting, they were just that everybody does like on top of them, get the guts. I'm so cold. Are you cold? And
Should we get back to the tent?
We get back to the tent. And so Alan thought this was horrifying. Then he saw how it distracted you because you have the lines. And then I didn't attach the two together. He said, Brando was like this. He would mess around up until action. And then he was there. He goes, because it distracted him from overthinking it.
Yeah.
And Alan said, that's your method. Yeah. Damn it, I judged you too early. And this is it was exactly his character. He went from Die Hard, that incredible performance to this goofy freaking guy. Right. Sigourney, after doing Alien, what was she doing in this movie? I was shocked.
She's fantastic.
Everybody was freaking great in this because it was against all odds. And then they sold it. But Alan eventually became a very great mentor and a neat guy. I won't say friend because I said he was. Everybody in that movie became very close friends.
Yeah, I really got that impression. And that chemistry screams from the screen that you all were having a good time doing it.
Daryl and I were just laughing on it. He scraped the ship. I can't remember
that.
Yeah, on the way out. And everybody's
And that was just
leaning.
Dean, wasn't it? Just Dean, the director, just going. Some of your reactions are fun. Do you know? I think you may do yourself a disservice. There are scenes in Galaxy Quest, mate, when you are a brilliant actor. And scenes that are not easy to carry when you come back from having been in space,
Right.
and they're all in the parking lot signing,
and
you've got to sell that moment to them all. It's brilliant.
And when you tell, what's his name, who's dying, who's been tortured,
Matheson,
and
yeah.
you have to tell him that you're an actor, and this
Yes.
is
Right.
all.
Oh God, that was terrible. And to see the look, to admit when you get honest with yourself, and becomes a different. Jason Nesmith, and then there's Peter Taggart. I get all these names, and I can't remember which one's which. When I was without that,
Yes,
that
Nesmith
whole,
was the acting. It was your actor's name. Yeah.
and then you become that guy, and then you become a hero, and that's what Spielberg saw that scene. He goes, you have become that hero.
Yeah.
And I said something about that movie on that level. I just go right to Sigourney. Would they cut it out? The biggest laugh in the test audience was when she goes, "Oh,
That.
it's the chompers."
Right. The
And there's-
chompers.
we go down to get to the iridium or whatever
Yeah.
that thing, and we come around the corner and king, king, king,
king.
You have to time it to go through one to get to the other. And she, that.
It becomes screw this, doesn't it?
The audience just blew up. And then it can't use an F-bomb in the F-bomb.
Well, they decided to PG it, didn't they?
Right,
because Rugrats had just become a massive success.
Well, and
which
they
was a G
also,
movie.
and I'll take it to, I don't know who to blame. I do, but I'm not going to out them. They turned it into a kids' movie.
They did, and they kind of disserviced
They
themselves
didn't know
there.
what didn't know what this movie was about.
Yeah.
It wasn't Spaceballs.
No.
It wasn't a Mel Brooks comedy. There was moments of it. You didn't know what this thing was
Well, it
about.
has such heart. I mean, really, there
But
are
you didn't
moments-
expect that when they were the promotion people put together, they did all that kid stuff.
Yeah, they didn't know how to promote it.
they
and
didn't
They didn't
have-
know they didn't see the levels that it was, the multi.
But none of us did until the editing. It wasn't Dean's editing put it all together into a very different movie. Well, as I said, it's like
It's got one of the finest film cuts ever. When it's all going on up in space and you're trying to save the day, and suddenly Justin Long has taken out the trash because
You
his
got 10
mom-
seconds.
Yeah.
It's one of the best film cuts ever in the history. He's so good in it, Justin Long.
all those kids were good.
and they
in it.
wanted to cut all that stuff out, apparently.
Well, they either want to cut it out or add to it.
Right.
So it became about their lives and how it was relating to our lives. But it didn't make any sense because it was all going on simultaneous. Get to the diagram. We're dying up there. And he's going, let me see. And get the other guy on the phone and look at that. Was brilliant.
That goes in recycling.
Yeah.
That goes in recycling.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're really so.
I
and it's-
often wonder that, how often has it happened where you've done a project and you've been excited as you're shooting it, and then you look at it and you go, what the hell did they do to this movie? Has that ever happened to you?
Well,
Because it's out of your hands to a certain extent after.
my problem is that I got there was so much interest in my doing the movies. I was doing stuff just to do the movie because I was a young comedian. So I said, okay, I'll do the movie. Shaggy Dog, which I helped create, was my fault because I didn't want to do prosthetics. That would have been a much better movie had I allowed to do what they did to Santa Claus, which was terrifyingly difficult.
4 hours.
The 4 hours of makeup. It changed my. I mean, Carrie. Anybody who's done it, Eddie Murphy. Anyone who's done this thing, I don't know how Carrie did it for the movies he's done. I've never even talked to him about it. But if they had done it so that Shaggy Dog, every now and then I had a paw, so that I overthought that movie too many times because I said it got into where I got in these fights with, okay, I turn into a dog. What happens to my clothes again?
You were overthinking it.
Well, no overthinking it. And then they're in a bag. So the dog put them in a bag.
Right.
So cause as soon as I turn into a dog, the clothes just fall off me. Is that how that works? And then, so I would actually, in that, when I turn back into a man, be buck naked somewhere. No, because you put your pants back on. So where did the pants get to because I'm running around as a dog in town. That being said, it's the same thing I say constantly about the Hulk. He stretches. Where are those?
Why are those tattered pants?
Where are those pants? Where are
See,
they?
This is not a thought that ever crossed my mind.
Well, I go every time I'm in theater. Why isn't he buck naked? And I remember a guy in the front row says, I don't want to see a big green penis. That's why he's not naked. Some guy with his kids, I went, okay, got it.
Yeah, right.
But why? I think of stuff like that it didn't make any sense. However, had I let them do digital animation, at least some of it, Shaggy Dog would have been a much different movie and capable of doing more of a guy that could turn into a dog. And once he figured out how to do it, once I got over that, and I was kind of being an ornery, that was on me. I think it could have been a much better movie. It was a really good idea. We had changed it a bunch. Another one we did was called Zoom. It was Zoom Academy, I think it was.
Oh, yes, yeah.
That was a brilliant script, if I might say. I helped write it with Matt Carroll.
Right.
And it said, they kind of got in the middle and wanted to make a bigger comedy out of it. And I said, the thought was, and I've said this, I love superhero movies. But if you had, I call the clipboard in any superhero, there's a guy comes in with all the Avengers sitting there and he goes, okay, everybody, I'm the clipboard. I initiate the problem solving. And they're all, Thor and Hulk, they're all standing there. Okay, all right.
This is your problem.
We have breast cancer. It's killing 20 million women, mothers, daughters, everybody. And so who's got it?
Anyone?
Yeah, the Hulk goes, Thor goes,
Got a hammer.
we go, Iron Man, anybody, science. Okay, that's unfortunate. All right, income inequality is pushing itself into the Middle East. Now it's coming through Africa. It's going to point here. We have too many people on the low end of the spectrum, and this is going to kill hundreds of millions of people eventually. Who's
Frozen
got,
boy?
Anybody? Captain America's he's just going with his thing.
Right.
I don't know really what you said. And then the Hulk again. Thor. We trade in goats and stuff. I don't really know what we do. I don't even know anything about what you just said. Okay, that's unfortunate. And so the purpose of Zoom was, in the story, is that they come to me and I'm in a gas station and Chevy Chase and Rip Torn, I believe. Great to work with those two. They came to the gas station and said, we need you back. And I said, this did not work out well the first time. We know you have a $700,000 gambling debt. We're willing to take care of that if you'll come back and help us. We have more applicants to be superheroes. This did not work well the first time. I killed my brother the first time. I'm the fastest guy on the planet, and I spun him out of existence. So we thought. And the idea was I put him into the electrical field. I didn't know I didn't kill him. And so electrical outlets all over the world are starting to shock and kill people. And my brother's coming back. And so that's the B story. And then I go to these children that have, like a kid they got like a tumor somewhere, but the way humans are, if you're blind, you can hear better. If you limp, something else better. So we would accentuate it with drugs and gamma rays. Whatever your handicap was, we'd turn your handicap into a plus.
All right.
And so this kid that can limp, now he can jump twice as high. And I said, well, the last time this happened, we made 5 superheroes, if you will all recall. And I was telling this to Chevy Chase in a scene that never got in the movie. And what happened? We sit in a firehouse out in the middle of the desert waiting for stuff that we can control. We cause the problems that we fix. So you knew what happened. Every large catastrophe over the next 20 years was us fighting. They weren't earthquakes. It was us fighting each other. Eventually, I had to kill all the rest of them. Right. And that's what superheroes do. And they said it in one of the Avengers, Banner and Tony Stark and Bruce Banner said, we brought Ultron here. We opened the door to the other universe. We did all this. None of this would happen without us doing it. So to me, Zoom was an idea that superheroes really can't do anything. They can't solve any problem. They cause the problems that they solve.
That's like the Greek gods playing and fighting. And
Right.
There's really nothing you can do about man's inability to focus.
Right.
Man's inability to take care of poor and widows or whatever the Bible said. We're not very good at this.
No.
And superheroes can't make us do it.
Right.
You can't make people. I said, what's her name? Biggest Loser, Jillian Michaels.
All right.
She had a great thing on Bill Maher. Just a great comment. She goes, you don't want to get fat? Exercise and eat. Don't eat well, or eat well.
Eat better.
And then she said, pause. She goes, sounds easy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Look how hard that is.
Right.
You don't want to be an alcoholic? Don't drink.
Oh.
Done deal. Move on. All sounds good. Getting people to motivate to change behavior, about 20%. Florian Marks used to run Weight Watchers, a very a close friend of mine and a wonderful woman. And she'd say, you'd get into these rooms, these people just would, Weight Watchers, we can do this. And you'd have 1,000 people in there cheering, and says, as soon as the door opens, 19% got it. And the rest of them go back to eating the way it is. Motivating people to change their behavior.
You've been sober 30 years.
Yeah.
Did you take to it like a fish to water, or was it a struggle?
As soon as
You knew you were done.
I hadn't gone one day sober for years, and once I decided.
I remember we had a couple of good nights out in New
Oh
York.
yeah, I had to. It was
The first time I realised what big money was, we went out and he had a limo, and we were at some bar, and he was, the drinks bill came, and he goes, "No, let me pay. I just got my per diem." I don't want to embarrass you, but he literally pulled out a wad of hundreds.
that was every first actor in the big movies. We lived on that.
Oh, we had a riotous time.
Every big actor, we used to keep that money in our house. They could. It was horrible. They'd come by with an envelope of cash.
It was just
per
amazing.
diem.
Do you know, at that time, I mean, how did this feel for you? At that time, you had the #1 book on the bookshelves, Don't Stand Too Close to a Naked Man. #1 Tool-Time show, Home Improvement, and Santa Claus had just come out. It was the #1 movie. We were all in New York at that week when it all happened. I don't think it's ever done before.
No, it had been done. And
Tell me about how you felt about that.
Well, oddly enough, it was an embarrassing moment because it was odd people that recognized it first. The studio didn't know it. My publicist didn't know it.
Shut up.
Nobody. Hyperion, who did the book, they're owned by Disney, and they said that his book went #1. Of course, my mother-in-law at the time, I said, I just got a #1 bestseller. She goes, that must be some other list. I have two. My mother and my mother-in-law the same way. No, that can't be right. My mother said the same thing.
I know you, Timothy.
I know you. That can't be. That can't be. This must be a different book. But Barry Sonnenfeld told me once, he was at a coffee shop in Studio City, California, and he said he saw me and he didn't want to come by, but he was doing a movie, and he said, "What's the number of movies of Santa Claus?" And he goes, "Isn't that Tool Time guy?" And then something about the book. He said, "That's weird that you don't hear it." Mm-hmm. And then my older brother said, "Did you know you got the #1 book, movie, and TV show today?" It was on a Monday, and I go, you'd think the studio would have known that, and they didn't. My publicist didn't know it. It's just odd people came around and said it. Of course, after that, the studio got really big at it. Wasn't my intent. It wasn't what I mean.
It just happened.
It just happened.
It was zeitgeist.
Yeah.
There was one night, you, me, and Brian Riley, and a couple of drinks at in the Park Avenue suite upstairs, and I'd only been in America 2 or 3 years, and suddenly the conversation turned to you running for public office. I was like, this is how this goes down in this country.
Tom takes out his disposable camera and goes,
But you got to hold it like you can't tell.
Exactly.
I was there when
What he said.
we launched the campaign. They were great weeks. Great. It was honestly, it was a treat.
Everything, and that was when God, I look at that compared to today, because I said, I love this business, and I love what I've learned and the friends I made in this business. And it's a short story long or a long story short. Streaming has changed. It's a good word. How this business is. It's not the one I remember. That's why I'm doing a linear TV show for ABC. One of the reasons I said yes is that I want to see is network dead? Are we? I don't know. Where people, it's some of the reviews I'm getting are exactly what I want. Now there's a reason for us to go watch TV after dinner with the family, and I said that's what it used to be, and it's 24 minutes out of 30, and we can't use F-bombs, we can't use sodomy, we can't. There's standards in practice. It has to be safe for families. It's censorship, which I used to hate, and now I adore the fact that you don't understand how difficult it is to make network and linear TV.
Yes,
and I said everything has changed about this business, about what's important.
I think there's still an audience in America that wants what otherwise you wouldn't be doing. You and John Pasquin have been doing this for 40 years.
Well, I said, that being said, I was looking at how they do stuff right now. We did Santa Claus, the series for Disney. And the first movie we shot in Canada, and they built stuff. That was the first Canadian, when they went to Canada, it was cheaper. But the Canadian crew members actually built the set. That wasn't a phony set. That was like real chest of drawers and stuff. I have some of those. I couldn't believe how much money we spent on that. And that cut to Jungle, you could have shot that whole thing in Glendale.
Yeah.
You know, we went to
We went to well, I didn't, but they went to Venezuela.
and
Yeah.
shot that in the rainforest.
Yeah, and then 2 months in New York at least, maybe two
And
and a
up
half
on
months.
buildings. We weren't in sets. We up on
Do you remember you actually went out
outside on the.
on
I
that-
go,
on
what
that-
on the hell was I thinking? And I said that was
Well, maybe not a lot at the moment.
well. That was it was to do that in Venezuela and how we shot that and how beautiful that thing was and the reason I bring it up is I said things have changed where I'm not sure you do that, and I said that script. I look back on that. That kid got on an airplane in a
Mowgli
with a
in a loincloth.
with a bow and arrow.
a bow and arrow.
And peed on the door.
Yeah.
Sam, he was so good, wasn't
Oh,
he?
he's a great friend now. I still
Is
see
he?
him as
Oh,
a grown
bless.
man with kids. It's just weird to see all that
Because
stuff.
he went on and did a Star Trek fanboy movie, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm reminding myself of that. Yeah, he's a sweet. Well, listen, if you want to get us all together one time, I'd love to see him again. I remember his mum and dad were absolutely delightful.
Everybody on that thing was adorable.
And Lily Sobieski and her
Yeah.
mum and dad were
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
It was
God, I forgot it. And it's so many parts of that. And then, of course, Marty and I. It was, oh, why do you make that noise?
At that time, I used to get misrecognized for Marty Short a lot. If I had $1 for every time.
In all honesty, I'm watching the movie, and I thought, Marty shows up, and I thought, well, Tom looks a little bit like Marty. And then I see you with this shock of blonde hair, and I went, oh, well, that's how they did it.
Yeah, that's how they did it. Yeah, Marty and I stood next to each other. Look at that. And we should have come up with a script then. Yeah, separated at birth. And I got taken to England, and
Right.
yeah. What else do we want to talk about?
Well, I want to know how old were you when you got bit by the acting bug, performing bug?
Oh, boy. It was a focus, a lack of focus. I ended up getting in a lot of trouble when I was in college. I wanted to be. I couldn't decide. I mean, Jay Leno made a joke about it, about philosophy. Would you expect to open a philosophy shop? I'm not sure. My grandma, before she died, gave us money to go to college out of her will, and with my mom's help at the time. And she said, go to college to learn. And don't be so affected
Obsessed
by
about the
job
outcome
of
of
it.
it,
Because my older brother is an engineer, went to an engineering school and college at Purdue, and it is a strategy that I didn't do. Learn a skill like almost industrial arts. I think it's a misappropriation right now. I got out of college, I had no freaking clue what I was wanting to do, and I was much more of a.
You did communications. And
I
then
wanted
and philosophy and
right. I liked being the center of attention. I did theater, but it was boring. Except improv was fun.
You worked at the WIDR radio, which I love. Was it the Western Interdormitory Radio?
Yeah. And
That was
we
hilarious.
did comedy stuff with radio.
And
I
then
did
Mark Ridley's
Comedy Castle.
Comedy Castle.
But that was all after I'd gotten in trouble. I got into trouble with I was tired of. I turned into a wholesaler. I was pretty much a socialist most of my life. I wanted people to take care of me. I hated rich people. I
was a wholesaler.
Well, as a wholesaler, I didn't like buying drugs. So the guy said, well, if you sell 2 ounces of weed, you get a nickel bag is your pay. That started a very bad trend. I said, well, what if I sold a pound of it? Well, then you get money, blah, 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 blah. Cut to, I got very involved in selling drugs. And it seemed like a good idea at the time. And then just like the movie Scarface, don't get greedy and don't do your own stuff. Right. I did both of that. Right. And then I became part of the problem and got arrested. And while I was arrested, I never really thought that they would put a first-time offender for that in prison. My attorney said, you don't know what they're doing here. They're going to make a spectacle of you. And so in pre-sentence, again, I didn't think that was going to happen because I rehabilitated myself. I showed what I was capable of doing. I was just got off track. And I started doing, my attorney said, I would find something that you could hold on to. And he kept looking at me and goes, you think they're going to put me in jail? He says, he didn't say it then, but he knew. not only I think they're going to, they are going to. It's just how long they're going to put you in jail. And it was
I mean, it wasn't a small amount.
no, it wasn't a small amount.
No.
I moved on to harder drugs, selling that because it was easier to.
Must have been good those days too.
Well, it really wasn't.
Really?
Nah.
No.
But it was a business, and it turned into. I understood horrible way to learn it. I learned what it takes to work for money, and it was a terrible way to work for money. And I made a terrible mistake with my parents and my family. I humiliated
must have gone through,
everybody. I put through crap, and including the time away. And I said, what happened to me was I established focus. When I was in prison, I read every book on self-help and some amazing stories. The one I remember was the woman who designed railroad ties. That was a woman that designed railroad ties made out of flexible lumber. They used to be made out of metal. So in Chicago, her kids were waking up all the time with why does that train make so much noise, though? And she said, she got there and looked at it. She said, why don't they cushion it? And they go, hey, lady, get back to your apartment and take care of your kids or whatever. And she goes, she just kept thinking, and she invented railroad ties.
I think I've heard this story.
And it was amazing. I said, so she just focused on the end result. She got kind of screwed when it got time to get paid for it. She took 10 grand for that. And then somebody took that idea. Yeah. And the other one was this woman that started the first boarding houses in Chicago or San Francisco. And a woman of color, back in the 30s, late 30s, she just became a millionaire, the first millionaire black woman. And I said, it's just someone who they just focus on the end result.
Yeah.
And so I learned that, and I said, so I'm going to get out of here, and I started putting things together. What I want is I want to be on Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
I don't care how, I didn't know what that meant, because you have to be a comic to do that, and I wanted to be like Rodney Dangerfield and all those guys. It was a tough road, and literally I spent 3 years in the penitentiary, got out, did 5 years on parole.
Were you writing stuff in the pen?
No,
no.
Mostly in there. It's a survival mechanism. As I said, there's nothing that stops a fist fight quicker than jokes. I literally could stop a guy beating the shit out of me by going, boy, my face must look like a frog right now. Because one guy was going to, I don't know what he was going to do to me. I made a joke about him I used to do these motivational meetings because we could leave the penitentiary and go to these churches.
Right.
It was Toastmasters and telling men how to express themselves on stage because I knew how to do that. And I made, like these two guys, I made a joke about this guy sitting there. And he came to my cell later and goes, that was pretty funny, slammed the door. You don't want a guy shutting the door to your own cell.
Right.
And he goes, wasn't funny to me, and I'm going to show you how not funny that was. And he comes at me, puts my face against the wall. I don't know what he was going to do. Then I start kind of weird cackling, like I'm laughing. And he goes, you think this funny, getting your ass kicked? And I said, well, if my brother could see my face right now, because it was all twisted up against the wall, and I keep seeing my two brothers, if they could see the look on my face, they would be laughing, because my face must be pretty distorted, right? And he goes, I don't even know how to answer that. He just stopped. He goes, you think I would tell you how funny your face looks? But no, look, put your hand back there and look how stupid I look. And he goes, what is the matter with you? You didn't catch any of this humiliating me. I said, didn't mean to I'm making a gag. I didn't know that you were sensitive about your sentence. He goes, you should worry more about it. And they started expressing who he was, and they left. And I got out of so many situations about being funny because I'm naturally, that's how funerals in situations. And when I got out, I went to on a dare. Before I went in, a guy came to me. I worked in I can't even believe it, a gun store, selling guns and sporting equipment. And then when I went in, I had that opening and closing, as I've learned to tell the other comics. Open with your best, but save your really best for the end of it. They won't remember the stuff that not funny in the middle. They'll just remember right before good night. And so I had some, I think it was the Pillsbury Doughboy. I said, what about the person that accidentally puts him in the oven, not the crescent rolls? And you have that going, oh, who baked that Pillsbury Doughboy? And he's pounding on that window. And he swells up, he all golden brown. You pick his arm off, had the butter on there. And that's how he ended
Faces
that.
on the window.
What are these sitting here? Oh, that's the bread.
Shoot, get him. And I did it, started going on the road. And short story long, some weird guys, Bob Seger, the Detroit musician, big time, used to love comedy shows. He'd come in, and I was getting kind of known in the Midwest. And he came in one day, and I can't believe what you do. You know, no help. You're there with a monitor, and I go, you're talking to a guy that watches what you do. You're going, Dean, no. How do you write a song? How does you think? I don't think of anything to this. So he had great respect for what I did, and then he started saying how he got where some things to learn is learn repetitive motion, do the same material over the same area of time, leave, come back, and see if people remember you. And he said, in a way, you put butts in the seats, you own it. Once you start filling the room by yourself, I don't care what the club owner says, what the promoter says, you own that situation. Right. And learn to love morning radio. And as a drinker and a partier, that was hard. Yeah. That was hard. I've been up till 4, but never up at 4.
Right.
You know, I've been out till 5 in the morning, but never had the alarm go off and get up at 5. What that, you know. And I learned morning radio, and I started going back to these towns and get to know the owners. Hang out with them, even people I don't like, you know, and learn how I can be, people remembered me in these clubs. And literally I started getting a hook, which was...
And that big hook, I mean, when I first came to America, Men Are Pigs, I mean, it was the first thing I didn't know who you were, mate. And then I saw that came about being at some sort of tire and rubber salesman's.
Goodyear Tire and Rubber they put like these young agents would send you out to college campuses to do a show in between their dance sequences, and this was for a corporate event. Hideous night because it's
dinner.
Grown men with their backs to you because it's a round table, so half the audience is facing away from you, going ting ting ting, chewing, and they're all talking, not listening to my gig. I'm going, I don't care what this pays, and it was $300. And I had to drive there and drive back. By the time you get home with gas, you got about $11 in your pocket. And they weren't listening. All I heard was, so I said, screw it, I'm just going to talk like them. So
there it is.
And half the guys went, ha ha, that's funny. Like they knew I was making fun of them,
they knew it.
But they laughed, and then they turned around and said, what if we were worried? And I did this whole thing, and I said, okay, bingo. And then it turned around and started talking, you guys probably like lawnmowers, and the girls were doing laundry, and the boys did all the
mowing the lawn
maintenance and the plumbing and all that stuff. And I started talking about, I was a masculinist. I was raised by women, tough women that told us what to do. Right. And so we were these weak men that just did what we were told. Ate when we were sit down and eat. So men deserve some respect for what we do. And so I was doing this whole thing about mowing lawns. And I think one of the favorite lines I've ever had, because it got this huge laugh, was men are pigs, right? Women, and the whole crowd, these women go, hey, come on, men are pigs, men are pigs, men are pigs. Yeah, just too bad we own everything. And then, and then I go on about that. Men don't even understand. You know, all we do is what you tell us to do. Right. Literally, all we do. It's just how I was raised. And once I got that, making jokes about how weak men are, but we have value. I'm one of those guys. Yeah, we do. I have total respect for women. I've never been one of the lecherous guy. Just not my thing. You know, I just strong women. I'm scared to death of them because I've seen my grandma and my mom in action, and they're not very big, but they're scary.
Doesn't matter.
They're scary people.
Yeah.
You know, my mum was a powerhouse.
Yeah,
just not to be crossed.
But I said that, and that once that got there, I remember we did. It changed everything in California. I did Gino Michelini, I believe, on Friday 5 o'clock funnies.
Oh yeah,
yeah, right. And he came out to the Ice House in Pasadena. Said, "Do you mind if I record this for 5 o'clock funnies?" I said, "Yeah, that's fine." and recorded. They get 80, 90 calls. Usually on the Friday nights, people drive time. And they got 12 to 2,000 calls like before the night was ended. It would have kept going on.
Right.
And of course, you had people going, And they tried to go, Tim, we'd like you to come down to Southern California, there was a comedy show in this arena down. It was some other named acts. It was obvious to me with no agent that they were there to see me because I was on third up and there was 6 comics and it was huge response. And they said, we're going to do another one in Glendale. We're going to come up another big concert. And I go, we're going to make it a little different here. I'm going to be at the end of the night. That's not going to happen. I go, okay, I'll move on. You what? I'm going to move on. I'm not going to do it. All right, we'll put you up last, but that's it. I go, and also I'm going to want a little more percentage of that, whatever the door is. And you got to be able to walk away. And I turned that in.
I sense that you're very good at that.
Well, it wasn't.
You told Katzenberg,
Yeah.
Well, I did. They
had a whole host of shows they wanted you.
That was Home Improvement. That was he probably remembers it differently. I just saw him about a week ago, and I said, he's a great man. He's a great man, a great thinker, a great family guy. And I said, they saw my show, he and Michael Eisner at the time, and kind of surreptitiously came to see me at the Improv. And then but wasn't really doing my show. It's hard for me to do. I'm a road comedian, so used to doing 35 to 45 minutes, so to do 5 minutes in L.A. to do these quick bits.
The 5 to 8 minute clean bit.
Never
That's
worked.
why you never got on Johnny, isn't it?
It never worked for me.
The guy that used to come spotting he would always come at the end, and he just thought you'd be effing and blinding. And
it was an embarrassment. I did Carson eventually the last month he was on the air as the star of Home Improvement.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it at all.
Didn't you go out? You went out to do your act, and
I told them before I go in, I want to do my act.
Yeah.
And they go, well, Johnny, you're going to sit down. Johnny wants you to sit down. Let me just do my act. And they go, well, do you know where to stand? Yeah, because I'd seen it. But as soon as the curtain opened, I had no idea where to stand.
You didn't have your glasses on.
Didn't have my
when
glasses
they told
on.
you where you were going to be.
Yeah, the mark was, there's the mark. And I go, oh, God. And it's a much smaller audience than I thought. And the curtain hit me as they closed the curtain. I moved out. Well. Cameras are moving in new position.
Booms are around. Everyone's freaking out.
Completely died. Went out there, looked like I was making a joke about comedy. Sit down with Johnny, and then the break, he goes, I hope you're funnier than that.
Oh, no.
He was being funny. I go, Johnny, that was horrible. And he goes, listen, come back next week. Do another one.
Because you want the...
I wanted this. I came back the next week and I drilled it. And I
What
said
a great guy, too. He was really supportive of comics. And
there was a lovely piece about him just on Sunday morning, that CBS Sunday morning show a couple of weeks ago, and they did a sort of homage to his life. And
well, it's a transition to different.
And he was Mr. America for 30 years, man.
He listened to the guest. Lena was on the edge of as a listener, and I still think Leno was really good at that. He does listen to but Johnny literally was a step. He was early at that, where he was like, he's listening to what you're saying. He's not waiting for the next question. He literally listened to everything you were saying. We have teachers on there. He had science people. He's a very interested guy, and I really appreciated that about him. And he said, but a very, it's hard to describe it, and it's not rude. But you think you know him really well, and as soon as you break, he leaves. And I saw him backstage. Hey, John,
he's gone. Back to
he's not.
Here I come.
And I know how that is. I love audiences, but I'm not very.
The day's done.
Collaborative in my stage stuff. They'll bring back audiences, members, and I'm not impolite. I'm very shy. I don't really. It doesn't seem like you can be shy or introverted. I didn't know that's. Right. What my deal was. And my wife and I will go to like Academy Award parties, and sometimes she said, some big stars he's waving you over. I go, I don't really. She goes, it comes off as being rude when you don't acknowledge somebody's looking at you and waving at you. And I go, I don't know what to say to him. Yeah. It's Harrison Ford or whatever it was.
It's so surprising.
Well, it's just, I don't know what to say because it's just, I'm better at it than I used to be. And I said, I don't. But my wife is really good. I said, he's waving at you. He sees that you see him.
Right.
By you not acknowledging it, seems like you're being full of yourself.
Right.
And she says, just to say hi to him. So
I'm the same way.
He's quite an
Yeah,
introvert.
I'd rather have teeth pulled than go to somebody's events. Truly.
okay, let's see. Let's get us some pliers out
Wait
here.
a minute.
So that's the end of that.
Let's just see. Let's just see if that's true.
Really? Is that true, kid?
Janie's she's garrulous and well met, isn't she? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
And she's doing a piece.
Yeah, we should give her a promo.
A
the third
promo
act
piece for
on
the.
YouTube. Check it out, guys. It's a very funny piece
Yeah.
about menopause, and it's,
And our name shouldn't be involved in that. It has nothing to do with men on pause or anything to do with it.
Right.
and it's also starring Michael Dorn for our audience, who
Right.
obviously, yes. And are you still giving him house room? Bless him.
Yes.
God bless.
Oh
'cause,
God,
his house burned down in the fire, as you know, and
Yeah,
that's
so-
really sweet that you're. Yeah.
I don't know. It's very tough to watch somebody lose everything.
Yeah.
And it was day before came by for dinner, and then he left.
Really, the day before.
Left, and he said, "Are you going back to your house?" Because he said, "Doesn't look like there's any problem. Altadena, the fire is really, I think, southeast of there." And then he called from his house. He says, "They're making us leave."
He got up at 3 in the morning,
and he
I
drove
know.
away. And then Jane waited, and he.
Did he come straight to you?
No, we called back. Says, "What happened?" He goes, "It was just like 4:00 in the morning." She goes, "My house is gone." And she goes, "Where are you?" And he goes, "I'm sitting in my car." She goes, "Well,
Get your ass over here.
get over here." He goes, "I'd like that." And he showed up.
Bless.
And I made him sleep in his car at my house. Just listen. Unless people
You're
learn.
a funny guy.
So I knocked on his window. "Not here. You got to park outside." And he. There's been moments that, and I've known Dorn a long time. And
You have.
But to see his face, he'll go, because we both share a love of photography, and I sold him my previous Fujifilm camera, and I said, we could do something. We could go out and shoot something. This is like a week later, and he just looked at me. I lost everything, Tim. He didn't have.
He walked out. I think he walked out with an overcoat.
nothing. He had his. He goes, "You're talking about no toothbrush."
Not even his computer.
I don't.
nothing.
I don't have anything, and it takes your breath away to watch that. His icon got smaller, and then he finds out who he really is.
Yeah.
He's been terrific. We have a beautiful place for him to stay. In his car, a
very
little
sweet.
spot,
Childhood
little
home, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was his childhood home.
Yeah,
it was,
his mom's
Altadena
house.
was the one place in LA that they let black families live back in the 50s.
All of it was tragic for so many. Mike Rowe, who's a friend of mine, got into the Palisades not recently, but probably 3 weeks ago, and he said it takes your breath away. When you see it on a helicopter, you see it on, but to see that one day you have this in this beautiful, no stores, and it's not even if the people. The odd thing is that all of a sudden there'd be a house that's not burned. I don't know how that
that's
works.
so weird.
And then, but going back there, you have every house around you is burned down. There's no stores, no gas stations, nothing.
What are you going back
Apocalyptic.
to?
It's apocalyptic.
It's
Yeah,
apocalyptic,
it
and I
is.
did the same gapy mouth when I went back to support the fire crews in New York. I have a place in the city, close to 9/11, and to go to see it on TV, but to go back there, it was startling how you'd end up having moments would go by where you're just looking and going, "What in the hell?"
Yeah.
How massive that destruction was. And these firemen were running everywhere and doing everything, and it was unbelievable what goes through and how people get through stuff like this. As odd as California can be to me, where I'm an old 4-H guy from Colorado, and I'm a real conservation guy, and I don't know why the state hasn't. I don't know that this is a fact, but Germans don't have fires like this. French, because they take care of their forests differently.
Right.
I don't think they have quite
Controlled burning.
They're culling, they call it.
Yeah.
There's no way. And I've been to. I mean, it's not my position, because if I don't around my building and my house, I even looked at our house when the fire was coming up the hill. We had to evacuate.
You were Runyon Canyon.
Yeah.
Problem. Yeah.
But I went up there. You know me. My wife goes, she's packing up the car with weird stuff, I get back there. What did you pick that up for? like some weird stuff, and she's like,
We don't need the mixer.
yeah, she's like
The
pissed.
phaser.
She's like, pissed.
Where's the phaser?
Yeah, she's like pissed because you were gone. Where'd you go? Well, I went up the street to get. I always got a peripheral. I want to see where the fire is and how close, which way we can exit right now.
Right.
I don't want to just get in the car and drive. I went up there, and the fire crews were. There's like 6 fire trucks at the top of my street, but they were just idling, sitting there, and they didn't look like they were in a hurry.
Right.
So I go up and immediately turn into Tool Man. I go, "What kind of a fire truck is this? Is this the one made in Osh?" Like the guy's sitting, he's sitting up in it with his arm out the window, looking down at me. I go, "Is this a big diesel?" He's like, "Do you redo the?" Like I'm asking all sorts of questions about the equipment, and he's going, "Tim, it would be a good idea if you got out of the middle of the road." Because I'm standing there, all these traffic can't get by me. I go, oh God, but he wasn't telling me to get out. And I said, what? We're down here, and they are very pragmatic and not. He said the fire is 2 hills over to the west,
And
it's moving.
The wind's going south.
It's moving southwest.
Yeah.
You are northeast. And I said, what are you saying?
You're going to be okay. Yeah.
He didn't know. He didn't say. They've told you to evacuate. Then do as you're told, and I would take a left. I wouldn't go right here. I'd take a left, go up
the hill,
go up the hill,
Mulholland.
and go back
Yeah.
down Mulholland.
Yeah.
And he said, but again, this fire is moving quickly southwest. You are northeast, 2 hills over. And he didn't say it, but I went up 2 days later, and I couldn't even see where he was talking
It was
about.
this close to Hollywood Boulevard.
If it had gotten that way, it would have.
If the winds had been 40 miles an hour, which they had
If
been
it
the
had got
night
across
before,
that boulevard, it would have gotten into West Hollywood.
Hollywood would have gone up.
I don't know. It's hard to believe what fires do. It really was hard to believe that because I like it in my neighborhood, and I started looking at it pragmatically. What would I do? And some of the preppers I know, they have these. Now you put a sprinkler system that's tied into your pool. If you have a swimming pool, I have a swimming pool, and so you can pick it up, and it just rotates fire.
Right.
So fire does not like water. It cools it off, and that's one way to look at it. And I want a fire guy to come by. What if that happened again? And then those of us like me, I told my daughters, my older daughter was there with us, Northridge earthquake, you have no clue how much damage that thing did in 11 minutes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that. It was literally 26 seconds.
26 seconds. Right.
It was I thought a plane had crashed into our house. It snapped my house in 2. Water was everywhere. My ex-wife and I my brother was there. It flattened all I don't know what the word is. All the cars went dead.
Was that the house up off of Ventura Boulevard?
Yes.
Yes. Dr. Cavor's
Where I had everybody
house.
over
Yeah.
for dinner. That was a great, that snapped that house, snapped it. And that guy next door.
You're quite a long way from Northridge there. I mean,
Yes. Well, it was a thrust quake. And I said, there's no warning for earthquakes.
No.
There's no help for earthquakes.
No.
And there's no rhyme or reason. Again, this was because I spent all my earnings in the next 5 years earthquake proofing that house. And the guy did, there's caissons, you put 40-foot caissons, and you could build a skyscraper on that house.
Okay.
Now my ex-wife's still living there, and I go, so now I'm earthquake proof. And the guy goes, I said, I just spent a ton of dough with caissons, with metal grills. That's for a rumbler.
Right.
This is a thrust quake. And I go, okay. He goes, well, try to put it in your head. 20 million tons of rock, a big piece, dropped 12 feet.
Right.
And it went, poof. That shock wave can't stay there. And it went up through every crack and it came up, hit the Santa Monica Mountains, can't go above there. So it went directly to Northridge, popped, that's by that big hole. And that thrust quake, that was the noise and the vibration of that rock. And I went, and my voice always gets high when I'm scared. Well, what does that mean? If it happened again, this house would do the same thing.
Right.
There's no protection against thrust quakes because we didn't know anything about them. And I said, I told my daughters, you have no idea the fear I had for everybody at Home Improvement. We had this fear of any type of helicopter would go over, you feel that feeling. It was terrifying.
I came out 2 days after that earthquake to emigrate, as it were.
Right.
And having met a bunch of English people in the recce prior to that Christmas, they were all packing and going home.
Yeah, and
We're not doing this.
Then
again.
you'd go Pasadena, didn't feel it.
No.
Santa
But
Monica.
Santa Monica, down in the sands of Santa Monica, half those buildings rumbled.
Right.
I mean, they went to the ground because
And
they're
then,
built on sand.
but some parts of the city, like L.A. proper,
Yeah,
that
fine.
I had a photo shoot due that day,
Right.
and they're calling, "Where are you?" And I go, "There was an earthquake." She goes, "Where?"
Yeah.
All of Moore Park, there's buildings on their sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Flattened, literally pancaked.
It was horrible.
It really was.
And I said, I get to one of my daughters. The fire was scary. Fire is scary, but like tornado or hurricane, you got a warning. You got a shot at getting out of there.
right.
Earthquake is.
no.
I moved a year later, and you could get 3 months free at an apartment.
Right.
You're moving in, you were like, please come and move here. And that was in Hollywood, which didn't get even hit very much. Yeah.
Well, this is depressing.
I know. Let's talk about your
Glad we brought
with the big laughs.
What was that? What was that?
We just had
Well,
one, didn't we?
let's-
We had
I
a
know.
little after the Oscars.
to are those your cars on
Oh, let's
on
talk
this
some
show?
cars. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The GTO.
All the cars on Shifting Gears are my collection, which I started. I grew up in a very 4 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, whatever that means.
Oh, I know what that means.
And it was, we were fine. We had birthdays and Christmases. We had everything we ever needed. My father passed, and then my mom was able to put us through college. And I said, I ended up buying every car I had as a model. I had a model car collection. My older 2 brothers were genius at building models. We went to car shows.
Oh, you
You're
built
in
them
the
yourselves,
You're in the
right?
Hall of Fame for it.
We did all these little car things, and we did a bunch of. My older brother, especially, he could spray paint brilliant colors and make model cars. He was brilliant at this, and so every car that I have the collection, but I love tanks and military stuff too. So I don't have that. Of course, my guy that runs my shop says I was going to buy a British tank, a Panther, I think, or a Jaguar. I can't remember. I think it's a Jaguar.
Chieftain.
No, it's a It's a current. NATO uses them still. It's a Jaguar powered, but it's the most current tank that the Brits have, and they're selling what's left of. And he goes, "Do you know it has to show up on a train?" They're trying to explain to me how heavy it is. And I go, "Well, so?" And he goes, "So after it gets off the train, Burbank." There's no law against it. They're not real excited about people owning tanks. And the way the Burbank people were going, if Tim wants it, you have to change the tracks from metal treads to rubber.
Sure.
And then it's always, what does he want a tank for? They're
Okay, question. What do you want a tank for?
I just love. When
You can't drive it up the street, can you?
I was going to be drafted for Vietnam in college, and they had the lottery then. And your birthday would go into a circle, and there was almost a lottery. Depends on when your birthday was. Then you'd go from 1 to 365. And
Was that to not go?
well, if you went in anywhere from up to 20, you're going.
Right.
And so all of my roommates sweating and literally having nervous breakdowns. And so I went to a military friend of mine and said, if you enlist ahead of time, you have a possibility, not for sure, of telling them where you want to go. So you could enlist in the National Guard, or you could be go to Africa or Antarctica or something like that. Doesn't necessarily mean that. And then you can pick the division you want to get in. I said, oh, well, then I'll sign up and I want to be in the tank corps. And the guy said, good idea, bad choice. Because the M60, which was the tank, they're not working in Vietnam. They're too heavy. So tanks aren't a viable option. So they're going to put you in artillery. And he said, and you probably don't want that because artillery, like snipers, are a target. The enemy hates artillery. So you're always being targeted. So you don't want that. You're going to probably be if you don't want that, you're going to be in the military. You'll be you could do MP and military police. Can't guarantee it. You'll probably go to Vietnam. So I went back. I couldn't do the tank corps, but I love tanks. Always have. Don't know why. I got to drive one. The Marines let me drive an Abrams tank down in the desert.
Yeah, first vehicle I ever drove was a Chieftain tank. I was going to join the army as a 17-year-old.
Best day of my life, sitting at Abrams tank.
Yeah.
commander going, hey, and
Were they stick?
there's a little
Was it? And it's opposite. Right goes left, and left goes right.
and then you're laying down flat.
Yeah,
When you're flat with the
young
prism.
dyslexic lad, it was not a good thing.
It was weird how small it was, and the Abrams is a huge vehicle, and we're in that laying down, and I'm cruising across the desert. I just took off. The commander's up there. Hey, Mr. Allen, have you ever driven a tank before? And I go, no, but I got it because I'm pretty good at. I drove a submarine. I got to drive a fighter jet.
Wow.
And I'm down there. It's a motorcycle grip, and then you turn, and then he goes, so you never driven a tank before, huh? And he's screaming it up on top. And I go, no. You see through the prism there? And I go, and then you pull this prism down. You kind of, I think I see it, but there's a diopter, and you got to focus on. You go, you see the gauges on the right side of that? And I'm going, kind of. Yeah, that kind of's not really what I want to hear. You see a declaration of there's numbers, and there's a 6 number, a 7 number. Yeah, it's in a 6. He goes, that means it's a 6 times 2. That's a 12-foot drop coming. Great. He goes, not so good. The tanks don't fly. If I get over 12 foot, the tank just drops, the barrel hits, and it flips on its, and everybody dies but you.
So we're good.
Thank you. So this is why they call me the tank commander. I don't want you taking off ever again without me saying so. That being said, now let me show you what this tank can do. And he showed me all this stuff. They don't like being unsettled. They don't fly.
Right.
If it's more than 3 feet, it will go down.
That's the whole reason the tank. They grab the ground. Yeah.
Grab the ground. But I was shocked how fast that thing was and what it would do. He had me going down a dirt road. And he goes, go down there, don't make any shit. The tank does not like sharp turns, and you'll snap a wheel off, or a bogey wheel, they call it, or idler wheel or bogey, one of the front and back. And if you turn too sharp, you can snap a tread. He says, so go slow, but they've dug these roads out of the desert, and then there's a big wall of sand. But I mean, a big wall. And he goes, all right, anytime you want to go right, go right. And I go, God, that doesn't look good. And he goes, trust me. And I turned right and went right through this sand, and it lifted the tank off, and it started going. I go, son of a bitch, we are badass. He goes, yeah, we were. This group was in Iraq when the Iraq War was. We were so far ahead of our supply lines because we're so quick, and the resistance was very minimal that we're going. It's going to take them a while to catch up to us, and the Abrams tank, from his point of view, was better shooting at speed than it was parked. So they'd go over these hills, and there'd be 4 or 5 Iraqi tanks facing the other way, and they'd turn around and they'd shoot as they're going through they'd land and shoot as they're going away. And we were doing 6, 7 tanks at a time, knocking them out. He said, you do not want to deal with the U.S. military on an open desert.
They're going to kick you out.
That's where we do. In towns, we're handicapped.
Right.
But you do not want to deal with us on an open desert.
Open warfare, right?
Yeah.
You do a lot of driving. You've done the 24-hour Daytona, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, no,
Saline,
Daytona with the saline.
Yeah.
And I learned a little trick, showbiz trick. If you work it right in last place, looks like you're in first place.
Yeah.
I came around. I was doing the show, so I didn't have any chance to road test. And they said, we need the third driver at Daytona. And I said, well, we shoot Friday nights. I couldn't get there Friday for team trials. And I said, the first time I'll ever be on a track like Daytona in my life. And I said, I love this because it's my life. I don't want to be first time in the car at 3 a.m. on the Daytona track because it's like this. It's terrifying.
Steep, yeah.
Cut to the one guy got sick. I show up, about 6 o'clock and he goes, Paul got sick. I go, Paul, the second driver? What does that mean? He goes, we need you in that car. And I go, now? No, it'll be after 2. Oh, so kind of what I said earlier, I don't want. I'll be from 2:30 on, the first time ever in a Trans Am car on the Daytona at 3 in the morning. It was horrifying. And I said,
the bank
is so much more than you think it is. You're looking like the steering wheel. And I ended up, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't.
If you don't keep up speed,
you have to keep up speed.
Yeah.
I got that part of it, but then it goes into the regular track,
right.
And then you go back on half of it's on the Daytona, and they said, I got to the second phase of it, and I was in the back of the team, and so the two other drivers were very good. They got up next to me, and I said, "Wait a minute. If I just speed up, it looks like we came 1, 2, and 3 on the show, and I was the last guy." So kind of look, if you're really in last place, you're kind of in first place.
Yeah, that's right.
Visually,
It's the uninitiated.
It's hard on
eye.
your body.
oh God, I did. It's
Focus alone.
It's focus alone is what it is, and all the drivers, men and women, are very small. You know,
Yeah.
like Danica Patrick, you'd think would had a
Amazing.
great advantage. The fact that I don't know about endurance, I don't know, but how that affects her because they're small size. Does she have less endurance than a guy? But some of the drivers, they're not as petite as she was. But I said I don't know about that. But there aren't big drivers.
There aren't, are there? No, they're kind of like jockeys.
Yeah, I think
for
so too.
cars,
Yeah.
Well, this has been lovely, Tim.
fantastic.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
lovely chat. I got one last question.
Uh-oh.
I know Catherine, your eldest daughter, got married recently, and you had to do the dance, the father dance.
Yeah.
You took lessons. Can I get the number of the dance lesson guy? Because Sarah
Girl.
and I are getting married in the summer.
A girl, and it was a great. It was a
It's
great.
going to be World War III without a dance
It
instructor.
it was well worth it.
It was well worth it.
I was
Well,
a disco. I was a disc jockey at a big discotheque all through college, so I know how to dance on stage.
Me too. But the,
I'm good at
the
that,
One,
but
one,
that-
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And
I was sweating through my pants in that dance lesson, and I did one, and my daughter said, it's hard to tell because she doesn't show emotion, but my ex-wife said, you made your daughter very happy by doing it. And I said, it's 5 of them, 5 hours of dance lessons. And I did all 5 hours, but still terrified. It's hard to tell you how much it means to her and to me to do it. I got the video back. Her husband happens to be an entertainer. He's a really good dancer. And both of those two do a lot of, I didn't know this, they do a lot of classes about swing dance and all. They're very good at this.
Oh, so Catherine can dance.
Yeah,
as it
she
were.
can dance, but she was there with the tapping on the shoulder to do all this stuff, and I didn't look as clumsy. I didn't look as good as I thought I did.
Right.
And I said, "Yeah, I got this." And I said, "Watch the video."
There's no Dancing with the Stars coming.
Kind of move your hips a little bit. That would be great. I said, "You're
Well,
like,
listen, if you don't mind, I'd love to get that lady's number.
All right.
Because Sarah and I have been practicing at home, and it's
Are you doing the Macarena?
we're doing. Well, I don't want to give it all away. It's a sort of waltz.
Yeah.
It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then there's some intricate.
yeah, it's about
weaving,
letting go.
Jazz hands.
It's about letting go. At one point, she
It
said,
is.
"Just feel it yourselves."
Yeah.
It's that Ray Liotta moment. It said, "Don't listen to this 1, 2, 1, 2." Eventually, if you're getting it,
Throw it all away.
throw it all away and have fun. And it's the love of your life, and you do it. And for my daughter, I wanted to be there as her dad. At one point, we got it. I thought I got it, but I said I saw the video and went, do I have some sort of paralysis?
I do have joints there.
Yeah,
I swear
I do.
to God.
I can't believe. I mean, she must be 30 something now.
34, yeah.
34. She was a 8-year-old. I
Oh
think.
God, don't
I
tell
know.
me. It goes on, and now my young one is going to be driving next week.
Is she starting next week?
Yeah.
Wow.
You got the cars for her.
Well, my wife and I are the same way. She has to earn a car. I've got plenty of cars she can
love
drive, but I said, dude.
It's a good way to parent. That was the way
Well,
my
we'll
dad
see.
was.
I said, but
Does she know she's growing up in an incredibly
well, I
rarefied air?
did a customized. It's called an H3 Alpha. It was the small Hummer done with a V8 engine, and I dropped it and painted all the chrome. I design and customize cars, so I did that as an experiment. And she said, "I like that," and I like that she's in a Hummer because it's kind of cool as hell. And I've got it now. She wants to. It's not as big as my wife goes. That's huge. I go, stand next to it. It looks big because they've got the way it's angled and stuff. But you get near it, it's not that big.
I love that story that you told when you were doing the Peterson Auto Museum interview, and you had that. Was it the first semi with the sleeper in the back, and that it was almost impossible to drive, and you and your daughter would go have breakfast in the back of it, and that's kind of
That's a Studebaker I have. It's a was it 34 or 39? It's a Studebaker, the first sleeper cab.
Yeah.
And we couldn't drive it. I'd take her to work with me, and she'd sit in the back. We'd act like we're going across country, and we'd have her breakfast in there and everything. And it said, still in my shop. And the only if Leno's not with me, I can't drive it because I don't know how. It's early.
It's just up and down, right?
Well, no, it's no synchro mesh. So you got to double clutch up and you got to double clutch down. And Jay goes, "This is great. I don't have time." Like he's so into it. I go, "Wow!" Then we got a British rally car too that it's very difficult to drive. And
What year? What year is that one?
it's an '88 RS 200.
That white one?
Wow.
Very rare. Got it
Yeah.
from the Brits. So they were British Ford is not related to American Ford.
No.
They're very different companies, and they built 250 of
Is that the Ford 100? Is that what it is?
RS 200.
RS 200, right?
And its sister car killed a bunch of people by mistake in Germany in a rally because Europeans rally right in farmland. People stand right
on the.
and they're doing
It's like
130.
the Isle of Man. It's like, what are you doing?
They went by and knocked. It looked like, unfortunately, on the video, it looks like bowling pins. All in the air. What am I watching? That's 21 people. It slid off and knocked 21 people in the air and killed 6 of them.
Yeah.
And they killed the European rally for 10 years over that accident. Now they're back doing it again, but it's something we don't. I love rallies. That's one thing we don't do here, but Europeans like it. It's like soccer, but I guess.
Do you still do any stand up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you do. You like a comedy store or what you started?
What is it? Laugh Factory.
Laugh Factory.
I do. I warm up to do that. When I'm doing up, I'm going out to Vegas. I'm doing Vegas, and I got 6 gigs coming up.
No, well,
Yeah,
I've
I've been doing it for 40 years. It's funny when a lot of people see me in concert. They go, I didn't know you did this. You didn't know I did this. Home Improvement was my act.
Right.
I mean, do you keep it? I mean, obviously you're not doing Men of Pigs still, or do you throw a bit
What
of
I
that in still?
what I do is I explain how I got where I am, but I
Right.
don't. I really feel like Rod Stewart.
Right.
I eventually do Maggie May.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I don't, Rod's not.
Right.
He's not writing new stuff. I'm not Gaffigan.
He'll do a bit of Cole Porter now, but
Well,
but
yeah, no,
eventually
don't
he's going
do.
back.
I always thought that would be funny if a comic could do that. I'm going to start out with a little Jerry Seinfeld. I'm going to do a little bit of Bob Hope, and I'm going to end the whole thing up with a Bill Cosby rendition, and then a little bit of Richard Pryor.
You're a big Bob Hope fan, aren't you? Yeah.
I'm a
Or an admirer of how he
because he
just
transitioned
kept transitioning. Yeah.
because it was vaudeville, then
Burlesque.
then it was burlesque, vaudeville,
Yeah.
radio, and then they were filming vaudeville.
Yeah, the Two
And
for the
that-
Road movies.
And he changed.
Yeah.
He said you got to adapt to this change,
Yeah.
and I don't.
He was clever. I can't tell you what a joy it is
Yeah,
to see
thank
you
you,
again,
guys.
pal. And I hope
Thank
you
you
had a
for
good
coming.
time. And thanks so much for coming in and
Don't show this to anybody.
gracing
No.
the stage.
This is for us. This is for us.
Bless you, pal.
Hey, thanks, man.
Yeah,
Hey, thanks.
Well, that was fantastic.
That was great. He's a funny man.
He's a
He's a funny guy.
he's a funny guy. Funny how
Makes me laugh.
Yeah, you amuse me. He really is, though, isn't he? And he was just very natural and well met, as always, and just how I remembered him. He's a charmer, and he knows where the funny is. You know.
Yeah.
I saw an interview he did when I was doing some research. Just knowing he likened it to being a magician. I know where the ball is. You don't.
Right.
And I'm going to show you the ball eventually. It just depends on when I know it's time for you to see the ball.
Right.
And he's really good at that.
Yeah.
And I think this interview will show that quite succinctly. It just pours out of him. I mean, if you give him an audience,
He can't help it.
He can't help it. Give him an audience of
Yeah,
one.
right.
There was an interview I saw about him working on Galaxy Quest, and he's got the likes of Alan Rickman there that's desperately trying not to laugh at all his fart and dick jokes.
Right.
Because, I'm a trained actor.
Right.
And he just couldn't help himself eventually. He had to give in to Tim's charm and funny.
Yeah, and he's got loads of it, and he's made such a career for himself.
What a storied career, man. I mean, it's
Yeah.
50 years he's been doing this. He's had 3 sitcoms. 2 have run 10 years, and we'll see where this one, Shifting Gears, goes. But, it's got Kat Dennings in it, so it's got pedigree, and alongside him.
He knew how to advocate for himself, and that was something that he mentions in this.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And that's...
It's a key.
It is key, is knowing your worth and not being afraid to stand by it. And when you say no, you mean it. Yeah.
And you walk.
And you walk. Yeah. And,
Then they go, hang on a second.
And some of the biggest, Jeffrey
Yeah.
Katzenberg does
Right.
not like being said no to.
Nor does the big mouse.
No. I've worked for the mouse.
Right.
I think you're really going to enjoy this. This is a great homage to the Galaxy Quest 25th just gone anniversary, and hopefully we'll have some more actors from that show on soon.
we have on the show, Dominic? Whatever.